Okay guys, I know you know the feeling as a content creator when you start off the Monday of a fresh week and you have so many good, gorgeous content ideas for your Instagram, for your TikTok, for your YouTube, but throughout the week, by the time the end of the week comes, you are completely crashing out, you've posted nothing, or what you posted you hate it and it's not performing well. But the good news is, all of that is ending today, because today I'm gonna walk you through my exact content planning routine that I personally use as a full-time creator. I use for Busy Blooming's podcast or Busy Blooming Instagram. If we were in a one-on-one session, this is exactly what I would tell you to do. This system as a content creator is designed to make you feel peaceful and organized, that you just have your shit together. But also every piece of content you post is on brand of what you want to do, what you want to be known for. And it's a peaceful, gorgeous way to plan your content every single week. If you're new, by the way, welcome to Busy Blooming, your new digital office for social media. You are in good hands over here. The caliber of people at Busy Blooming, we're geniuses. Truly. For content creators, influencers, podcasters, entrepreneurs, you are in the kindest, most warm corner of social media where we don't get burnt out, we don't get exhausted, we actually have fun with content creation, which I know. It's not this scary hustle culture toxic thing. It's actually fun and it's a business. So please feel free, subscribe, grab a desk at the office. We would love to welcome you in as one of our coworkers here at Busy Blooming. With all that being said, let's clock in, let's go to work together today. Let's unpack your new content planning routine. When talking about planning your content every single week as a content creator, I'm sure you also feel like your brain is just in a million places all the time as a creator. But that is where today's sponsor comes in, which is Notion AI. Notion AI is about to be your new favorite coworker as a content creator. Notion AI is officially a part of the Busy Blooming office as one of our coworkers, because it is literally going to change your life. You have no idea. I need to show you this. You guys know I'm so deeply obsessed with Notion. I'm going to be talking about how I use it every single week to plan my content, get my life together as a content creator. But Notion AI is something that I cannot believe I lived without. I use Notion AI all the time for Busy Blooming's content, my personal content, to brainstorm content ideas, plan my content calendar, write brand deal scripts, take YouTube scripts and put it into short form content video ideas. It's honestly changed the game for me and changed my entire content strategy, because it helps me feel so organized and so creative without getting overwhelmed at all. You can say something like, give me 5 carousel ideas about burnout as a creator, and it delivers instantly. Plus, you get to choose the AI model that you want to use. So you can use ChatGPT with Notion AI, or you can also use Claude. And you guys know how I feel about ChatGPT. And ChatGPT in Notion AI is an actual dream come true for me. You have no idea. So let's say a caption you're writing for Instagram feels off. You can put it into Notion AI, and it can rewrite it, making it feel friendlier, punchier, or just sound more like you. It also helps with spelling and grammar, which is so helpful when I'm writing a long script or emails. And my favorite part about this, which is so cool, and I'm sure a lot of you use Notion, so this is going to change your life, is that Notion AI uses all of documentation in Notion, in your Notion where you have all your content ideas, your scripts, but also it can search across Google Drive. And so you never have to flip through all your Notion or all your documents or whatever it is to find things. It searches across everything. So when you're creating content ideas in your Notion AI, it's pulling from everything you've ever put in there. It's actually life-changing. So if you're a creator, an influencer, or an entrepreneur, Notion AI helps your workflow feel way less chaotic, more aesthetic, and just way more productive. So you can try Notion AI at notion.so/AI. If you love Notion, which I know you do, you're gonna love this even more. If you're new to Notion, now is the perfect time to join. Jump in, try Notion AI. Notion is an actual all-in-one tool. You guys know I talk to them basically every single week. I actually can't live without it every single week to plan my content, which we're about to go into the video. So I'm so excited that Notion's sponsoring today's video. I will link them in the description. You have to go check it out. You're gonna feel so organized as a content creator every single week, and Notion AI is going to change your entire life. So thank you so much to Notion for sponsoring today's video. With all that being said, let's get into the video. Okay, so the first thing we absolutely need to address is how much should you post on social media? The advice that people give when it comes to this question truly send a shiver up my spine. I'm sure if you're over here at Busy Blooming, you want social media and content creation to be a business, your job, maybe a part-time job, a full-time job. You want to make an income, a business, a movement, a community. You want more out of social media than just going viral and getting a bunch of random followers that don't know who you are and don't care about you. So yes, of course, if you're on TikTok, TikTok and you post 3 random videos a day, the chances of one of those videos getting traction makes more sense because you're posting more stuff. But if you are somebody who you want social media to be your business, your job, your career, you're starting a movement, a community, all these things we just talked about, then you need to approach social media differently than other people. So here's my take on it. I truly believe it is not a matter of quality versus quantity, because also quality is so subjective as well. Like, how do you even know what's good quality content? This is my rule, okay? When it comes to how much content should you post, you should post as much content that is aligned and strategic that you can per week that gets you closer to where you want to go. So it's always aligned and strategic content wins over everything. What really matters is that when people see one of your posts in the Reels feed, on their TikTok feed, and they go to your account, if your account matches what they just saw, it's the same kind of topic, same brand, same content, they will hit follow. So that is what matters so much, is that every time you post a piece of content, it's getting you closer to where you want to go. It's strategic in that sense. It's aligned with your energy, who you want to be known for, your brand as a creator. So as much per week that you can post that without getting burnt out, that is the amount of content you should post every single week. All that being said, there are certain things you can do to make it a little bit easier. For example, having a really easy template of having like a 6-second video with text on screen that really works. It always performs well. It's easy to make. When I was balancing a 9-to-5 job with content creation, I used to post Monday, Wednesday, Fridays. I did 3 times a week, short form. I grew my account to 100K doing that on TikTok. If you can post 3 pieces of content that are aligned and strategic per day, then like do that. That's amazing. But it's never a matter of quality versus quantity. It's a matter of how much content per week can you post that gets you closer to where you want to go, instead of like how much random stuff can you post every week, because you never want to post anything random. You always want to post content that's on brand and like adding to your gorgeous collection that's cohesive on your Instagram, on your TikTok, and your YouTube. Okay, now that we got that out of the way, let's get into the actual weekly plan. So I'm going to take you step by step. I'm going to be sharing my screen a little bit as well. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple, it's totally fine. So when you sit down to plan your content, the first thing you need to do is bring a base with you. Included in my personal base when I plan out my content, I have my gorgeous, amazing Canva slide deck that we made last week, which if you missed last week's episode or you're watching this later, go watch the episode about how to build your signature brand on social media, because we all together created the most gorgeous slide decks of our mood board, our brand, our content templates, our signature elements, our target audience, our mission, our bio, like everything. So we're coming into every week with this like solid slide deck of exactly what we want to do on social media. So that is the first thing I have in my base. I also have a saved list on my phone of TikTok and Instagram saved folders. Every time I'm scrolling on Instagram or TikTok, I always have a separate folder that I save videos to called content ideas. So I have that with me every single week. If you're a part of Busy Blooming HQ, then every single Monday I drop a gorgeous presentation of content ideas, what's trending. So every single week you have fresh content ideas from me that we all follow. I also have a list of content ideas in Notion and my notes app. So when you go to plan your content, you know exactly what you want to be known for, who you're talking to. You have a bunch of ideas. Maybe you make a little iced coffee for yourself, and you have a really solid base going into every single week. Then what you're going to do is you are going to ground yourself and your priorities for the week with social media. I so deeply believe in treating your content in seasons and in priorities. And you have different seasons of content where you're maybe prioritizing TikTok more than Instagram, or you're doing a big series for over the summer, or you really want to have certain content pillars for a different season. But going into every single week, you really want to think about, okay, this week, what social media platforms are my priorities? And you have to list them out. So for me right now, actually going into this summer, Instagram has surpassed the YouTube priority, which is so crazy. But for July and August, Instagram is going to be my number 1 priority, my personal account, then the Busy Blooming Instagram, then my personal TikTok. Those are the priorities. So going into the week, if I don't really get to posting on TikTok this week, it's like, who cares? It's like the bottom of the list. It is such a nice way to treat content, because as a creator, it is so easy to feel like you are always failing at something. So going into the week, write out, and this might be the same every single week, but write out what are the priorities of all the social media platforms you're on, so you can really get clear on like what you're working on growing right now. And then what we're gonna do, step number 3, is you're going to pick your themes for the week. This is a structure I've shared before that I personally love, what I do on a week-to-week basis is I pick one or multiple themes for every single week. Another approach that a lot of people do is they have content pillars where you have like buckets of content, like vlogs, out for the days, like whatever it is. You have buckets of content that you repeat. I personally like to have a different theme or multiple themes every single week. And so for an example, for me this week, my theme with content is all about rebranding on social media. Another theme I really want to do is kind of like some sort of theme around getting your shit together or like not crashing out or burning out as a content creator, and like organization. Like that's kind of the themes, the vibe of my content this week. If you balance multiple different social media platforms, specifically like long form and short form, I love the strategy of having the same themes or even like one theme across all your social media. Like for example, this week, this is a podcast topic, is how to plan content. So I'm going to apply the same content throughout my Instagram, my TikTok as well. So it kind of all connects together. So those are my themes for this week. So you want to think about what are some themes, what are some questions you want to answer. Let's say you do fashion content. Maybe your theme this week is wedding guest dresses. Maybe you talk about confidence. So maybe your theme is how to stop caring what people think. Maybe you're a lifestyle content creator in New York City. So maybe your theme this week is like morning routines. And then maybe another theme is like your work day behind the scenes. Try to either think of questions you want to answer, problems you want to solve, or topics or themes of the week. You could also do like a weekly series. But I love doing this because going to every week, I feel like I have a fresh slate of creativity and I'm not just following the same like buckets every single week. So for me this week, the themes are like getting your shit together, how to plan content, how to rebrand. Those are my themes. And now it is time to actually plan your pieces of content throughout the week. So going into every week, you have this gorgeous mindset going in. You have all your ideas, you have a base of everything you want to do, your mood board, your brand, your mission, you know, your priorities for your social media platforms, you have your themes for the week, and now you're ready to actually go through and plan day by day what you want to post every single day. So the strategy that I am doing right now that I recommend doing, whether you're doing a short form summer rebrand or not, is I recommend having signature content templates of signature styles of templates that you do all the time and assigning those templates per day. So for example, for the summer, I have decided that I want to do voiceover vlogs, carousels, and text on screen videos. And so what I've done is I've assigned those signature styles to certain days. So Mondays and Wednesdays are carousels, Tuesdays a voiceover vlog, etc. That is a schedule that I do. So you assign a style of content per day. Then when you go to plan your content, you have all the themes, all the ideas. You don't also have to think about the styles. And then you've already done the work and thought about, okay, my brand, I want these certain signature elements that you bring through every single style. So going into planning is so much easier when you've done all this like foundational work. And so much of content creation is just making a bunch of messy decisions and then going with it. Like thinking your content schedules, your signature styles, your themes, your ideas, like everything. It's not always gonna feel so put together and like so organized, but you have to create your own system and just make decisions for your own content business, your own brand, your own accounts of like, okay, I post these days, these are my signature templates, these are the days I'm gonna do them, and here's my ideas, and just back yourself and go with it. It does not have to feel perfect, but pushing through that mess and like doing things messily is so much of the art and like the key to content creation. So let's go through day by day. I'm gonna show you my content calendar because I feel like that might really help spark ideas and like show an exact example of how I would do this day by day. So obviously I use Notion. I am so deeply obsessed with Notion. I actually do sell this Notion template in the Busy Blooming digital store, and I'm gonna plan platform by platform. So I'm gonna plan my Instagram because that is my #1 priority. So let's start with Tuesday, because if you're watching this in real time, Tuesday is July 1st, which is the first day of short form summer rebrand. So Tuesdays are always going to be for me a voiceover vlog. So I love having a style per like day of the week. And my themes for the week are like content planning, organization systems, getting your shit together, rebranding, all of that. So for Tuesday, for the voiceover vlog, I want to do a video going through how to plan content, which is like another version of this YouTube video. So when I go to plan a piece of content, there are a few different things that I do for every single piece. So I really make sure that it's signature, it performs well, it's intentional, it's strategic, all of that. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to think about, is this piece of content for people who don't follow me or for people who do follow me? I feel like this is one of the most skipped over steps. I've said this before when talking about like how to grow on YouTube, but for short form content as well. If you are creating content for people who don't follow you and you're intentionally trying to target people who have no idea who you are, you feel more free to say things that you've probably said a lot to your existing audience. Or if it's the inverse, then you might be like more having inside jokes or like referring to old videos. So like whatever it is, it's just important to have that in mind. Like, are you talking to your inner circle or you're talking to your outer circle. Then what you're gonna do is you're gonna write, okay, what is an overview of this content idea? Like, what do I actually want to show? What is the video about? Like, what are the topics? What are the messages? Like, write out a bit of a brain dump overview of the actual content idea. So for this one, I wrote out about a 60-second voiceover vlog of how I plan my content every week. I want to show my iPad, my laptop, my whole system, do some like timestamp text on screen. So a bit of a mini brain dump about like the actual vision you have for the piece of content, like the length, what you want to show, all that. Then what I always do is link any inspo, whether that's pictures of Pinterest, something from my TikTok content idea list. I put the link in here. Any like visual or content idea inspo, I dump under the content idea as well. And then you want to write out your hook and your script. For me personally, I don't write out a script or a hook or anything like that with short form content. I just find it easier for some reason over the years of just like doing it organically, like kind of thinking and processing while I'm making the carousel on Canva or doing the voiceover. I find that off the cuff, I'm just better and like the videos just turn out better, the pieces of content are better. But I know that is not usually the case. So what I'd recommend doing here is doing bullet point notes of things you want to say instead of a word by word script. I find that with creators I've worked with, myself included, when you have a word for word script that you're reading, your energy is just not as good. But you really want to outline here either if it's a carousel or a video, how do you want to start it? So what do you want the hook to be? Think about that. And then make a bullet point list of what are like the main takeaways, messages, things that you want to say, but don't write out a word for word script, trust me. I just feel like it's so much better when it's a little bit off the cuff. In terms of making your content like super signature and unique and on brand, I have a whole episode I did about that with a ton of tips of how to take your actual content and like make it so much better and like different. So I'll link that video down below and I'll link on the screen. But under each piece of content, obviously write out the hook, the script, and a bullet point list of things you want to say. Then what I always do is I write out my signature elements, which if you've done the video last week, the whole slide deck, you're just gonna copy and paste these over because you've already gone through each template and wrote out what you want your signature elements to be. So for me, for the voiceover vlogs, my signature elements for my brand are they're funny, unserious, bold. There's overlays of notes app and text. There's tons of emojis. I have white minimal text. Like those are my signature elements. So I just copy and paste that over to make sure I have those in mind when I'm making the video. So what you can see we're doing here is for each piece of content, you're being so strategic of, okay, how could I make this with the weekly themes, on brand, signature? Who is this exactly? What is the tone? Is it for new people, for people who follow me? And then the last thing you want to do is you want to think about the goal. So people watch this content, like what do you want them to do and how do you want them to feel or what do you want the takeaways to be? This is again so important to think about with each piece of content, like why are you even posting it? Like why would someone care about this? For example, for this video, my goal is I want people to save this video to come back to it. So when they plan their content, when they see the Instagram reel, I want them to save it. So on Sundays or whenever they plan, they come back to that video. So I want it to be super savable. So having that end goal in mind, when I go to create the pieces of content, I'm thinking, okay, I'm gonna pack a bunch of stuff on here that people could come back to and like use and save. And the goal of how I want people to feel is they're like really relieved, peaceful, organized, inspired, excited. So I have that in mind as well when I'm making the piece of content. So for each piece of content you sit down and plan, you want to think about a rough overview, inspo, hooks and scripts, signature elements, and goals of how you want them to feel and what you want them to do. Something to think about as well, because if you want someone to share your video or share your carousel, whatever it is, you might have a bit of a different tone of really thinking about, okay, if I want someone to share this, how could I make this something that's a little bit like less about me or something someone would post their Instagram story? Or how could I make this a little bit more relatable of something someone would share to their friend? Because if the goal of your content is to make it shareable, you probably won't say, this is how I plan my content, because that's not as shareable, rather than saying, if you're a content creator, this is your reminder to plan your content like this. That's something that I would actually share for you guys to my story. So these are all really important things to think about because they're really going to shape the entire piece of content. Okay, and this is like my favorite thing to do. My favorite method with content creation planning is I have just planned one content idea. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to think about, okay, how can I reuse that same idea more times throughout the week? Because some of my content templates, I have carousels, I have text on screen. How could I use the idea of doing a video of how I plan my content? How could I do that in another style this week to get more traction out of that one idea? Maybe I could do a carousel going through the exact same steps I went through my voiceover vlog, or maybe I could do text on screen with like a calendar or something, or a checklist of the exact same some things I said in that video. This method of thinking about how can I reuse that idea multiple times throughout the week is like the best way to get more traction out of your content. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna take this exact content idea and put it on Thursday so I can also do a text on screen video of how to plan my content every week. You also literally could do this for like the entire week. Like I could have 5 pieces of content that are all about the topic of how I plan my content every single week. Like that could be literally 5 pieces of content, 5 different styles, the exact same topic. One's like a reminder of encouragement about planning content, one's a schedule, one's a step-by-step checklist, one's a voiceover vlog. There's so many ways you could take one idea and like split it into so many different styles. So then my Tuesday, my Thursday are like already planned. Then Wednesday is always a carousel. So I'm gonna think of my carousel for the themes of the week. Maybe I'll do a carousel about how to always stay organized as a content creator, like a weekly routine of things you need to do. So I'm gonna pull my inspo, pictures I want the carousel to look like. I'm gonna pull over from my brand strategy PowerPoint. My signature elements, I'm just gonna copy and paste from my strategy deck. And I'm gonna go through for this carousel, the overview, the inspo, the hook, the elements, the goals. Like for each piece of content, it's like so strategic. So you're really making sure with everything you post, you're like adding it to this cohesive collection and everything's just getting you closer to where you wanna be and what you wanna be known for. And it's like building this legacy, building this brand, and everything just feels so like cohesive. So then I have my whole Instagram week like planned. It's on brand, it's aligned, it's themed, it's thought through, it's strategic. And then I would just go through each content platform. So now for TikTok, I'm gonna figure out, okay, which things of those could I repost to TikTok? I would plan a YouTube video for the week as well. And you just go platform by platform, like super peaceful, super fun. You could have the same theme or like reuse the same ideas across all your platforms. So it's just like super cohesive every single week. And then the most important part, I feel like with all of this, because I know that execution can be like the hardest thing. And execution is so much easier, like actually doing this every single week when you have all the strategy thought through, because you go to sit down to make your video or make your carousel, you already know like exactly what you're gonna do. It's so much easier. But the last step in this is making a time block in your actual schedule, whether you do this in your Notion calendar, Google Calendar, whatever it is. And you're going to seriously give yourself like a meeting in your calendar of when you're going to film and create this piece of content. So for example, for me, I would have Monday morning from like 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. I'm going to sit and make that video, the text on screen video. I'm going to film it, I'm going to put the text on screen, I'm going to post it. If you were somebody who has a 9-to-5 job, you're really busy, maybe your Sundays are when you batch content. I'm not like a content batcher. I just like hate batching content, but I know some people like you have to do it just depending on your schedules, but you really want to have in your schedule, like truly treat this like a part-time job of scheduling in meetings of when you're going to film everything, edit everything, and post everything. Again, I'm so somebody who like films, edit, and posts right away, but this can really help as well get rid of that execution paralysis of like, I have all these ideas, like how am I gonna actually do them? Because you have exactly what you're gonna do, when you're gonna do it. Inevitably life happens, those things like will move around. You could just like move the little time block around depending on your day, your mood, your energy, whatever. But having a meeting in your calendar throughout the week is so important to have blocks of content creation time aligned to each piece of content. And that is my content planning routine. I love doing this every Sunday. Even if I really don't feel like it, I do try to push myself to plan. This routine is something I have built like brick by brick over the years of burnout and crash outs and working with content creators way back in the day when I did like freelance social media marketing, how I would balance clients, and now as a content creator myself full time, like this is exactly what I do. When I work with Maddie every week on the Busy Blooming Instagram social media, this is what we do as well. It just works. It's so peaceful, it's so fun, but it also really works, and you're really being intentional and strategic and truly treating your social media like the business that it is. And it's also just fun, which is so important. I have so many other thoughts about content creation in terms of like, how do you know when to push, when to pull back, what if you're really burnt out, how to take a break, when to take a break, all of that. So we will get into that now in after hours, where we have a lot to unpack. So let's get into that. But that concludes our meeting for the week of how to plan your content every single week. That is my personal routine. I love it. And thank you for clocking in to the Busy Blooming office. With all that being said, work is over. Let's get into our after hours, our after work social, and talk about like taking breaks and the emotional side of like all of this, because it is, as always, that deep. Okay guys, it is after hours. Work is done. We've got our content planning routine. I just want to do a really quick after hours note on this episode, because this week when talking about like planning content, how much to post, posting like Monday to Friday, like whatever schedule you're doing right now, I just want to emphasize like so much, I could not emphasize this enough, that nothing ever, when it comes to social media, entrepreneurship, building what you want to build, nothing is ever worth your mental health and like feeling happy. I feel like so much of the advice that we hear about like how much to post on social media is truly diabolical. People are out here saying that they posted 15 times a day, 10 times a day on TikTok. You have to post 3 times a day, like whatever it is. Everyone is so numbers obsessed with like quantity of content, which I've already said how I feel about that. But I just want to put a note in here and say that throughout short form summer rebrand, or whenever you're watching this video, whatever time of year it is, I want you to know it is always productive to take a break from posting. It is always productive to pull back, take a day off, take a week off. It is not a failure. It is not a sign that you're doing anything wrong. It's a sign that you're in control of your business. It is so easy in this world of social media and content creation to let the business and the social media and the content control you. And you always need to remember that you are in the driver's seat. Like, this is your business. This is your profile, your social media, your brand. And if you are starting to feel like you are losing the driver's seat position, you're getting in the back seat, and the content schedule and the posting, the business and the growth, like all of it is just getting so overwhelming, and you are starting to feel your mental health, your emotions, your energy like really start draining, the right decision is always to take a break. You will never ever regret pulling back for a week, a couple of days, whatever it is, deleting your social media, stop scrolling and taking a break. Like, I just like need to say that when it comes to this episode, because you guys know me, I delete my social media every single Friday night. I delete my Instagram, my YouTube, my TikTok, my YouTube studio. Like, I delete everything. I do not go on social media on the weekends, because you will not believe the creativity that comes to me, and like the break and the joy that comes when I'm off social media for a couple of days. That is part of the short form summer rebrand rules, is like to take 2 days off. But I take breaks all the time, intentionally, all the time. And it is like the best thing ever. The best skill ever is learning how to take a break and feel good and like really own it and realize how productive it is. Like, for example, with the busy blooming Instagram these last couple of weeks, I knew that that was going to drop to the bottom of the priority list when HQ launched. Like, busy blooming HQ quickly became my #1 priority on June 10th. Same with this podcast as well. Even the podcast is less of a priority for me right now than busy blooming HQ. And so I knew, okay, when busy blooming HQ launches, my Instagram, personal Instagram, busy blooming Instagram, it's gonna be like bottom of the priority list. So the last couple of weeks, I have not posted literally anything, but that's okay, because I intentionally set priorities every single week, all the time. I know what my priorities are. I'm not trying to do everything all the time. And so I took a break from my Instagram. And do you think anybody noticed? No, like no one noticed. But maybe you need to take a break completely, fully. I have done that as well. This year, there have been weeks where I have taken a complete break, like weeks actually off from TikTok, YouTube, podcasts, like everything. And people do not notice. There are so many systems that you can build that I've built over the years that make you not feel burnt out, like deleting your social media every Friday, having really easy content templates, always making sure I'm like super aligned, love what I'm talking about, like whatever it is that you build over the years, but that never goes away. Like the feeling, regardless of if you're a full-time content creator, a full-time entrepreneur, a full-time podcaster, you will still need breaks. And I just wanted to say that over here at Busy Blooming, at the office of Busy Blooming, it is always productive to take a day off, take a week off, take a break. If you feel like you are completely overwhelmed and stressed out with your Instagram, your TikTok, whatever it is, take a step back, reprioritize, look at your brand. Maybe it's what you're talking about. Maybe you need to rebrand, pivot, try something new. Maybe you just need a week or 2 off social media. Even for short form summer rebrand, like I know every day, every week, like Monday to Friday, whatever your schedule is, if you need to take a day or a week off this summer, take the week. It is so productive, because content creation and social media and all of this is always secondary to being a human being. And it is just so important to be happy and enjoy your life. It's the summer. I truly feel like with social media, the destination is enjoying the journey, and week to week, like enjoying making the content, pivoting, rebranding, trying new styles, filming your content, talking to your audience, building your community. Like that is the destination. Like that is the most fun part. And so if you are not enjoying it, not that you're going to enjoy every single moment of every single day, like you just won't. Sometimes you just have to post content, like whatever it is. But for the most part, if your week to week is not like fun and fulfilling, pull back, repivot, rebrand, take a step back, delete social media for a little bit, come back. Like, just always be in the driver's seat of your business and don't let it control you. You control it. You control your brand, your profile, your schedule, everything. And I just want you to always remember that taking a break is so productive. It's like one of the best things you can do, especially in this creative world. There's nothing wrong with you. I need to take breaks all the time. And I'm a literal full-time content creator, business owner, podcaster. I've done this full-time for years because nothing is ever worth your mental health or feeling depleted, burnt out. And again, there's so many little systems you can do to like avoid this, but it will never be perfect. You will never stop needing to pull back a little bit every so often. So I just wanted to say, when it comes to content schedules and what to post every week, it is always a safe space over here to always remember you're allowed to take a day off. You're allowed to reschedule. You could pull back how much you're posting a week. Whatever it is, you're allowed to take a break and be a human being and exist and burn out and be tired. And social media and content creation can be like so fun, so fulfilling, and be successful. Like, success in content creation does not have to come from burnout and struggle and this like horrible experience. Like, it actually can come from being really fulfilled and having fun and posting like 3 days a week. Like, that can lead to success, like speaking from experience. So I just want you to know, I never wrote short forms of a rebrand. If you're watching this in real time or whenever you're watching this, never let social media take priority and your business take priority over your mental health and feeling good. If you need a break, take a break. It's your business. You can do whatever you want, set your schedule. And I just wanted to say that now. After hours today because I want you to be happy and like enjoy all this. That's the destination, is enjoying it. Anyway, little rant to end this week's episode, but I hope you guys are doing well. I'm so excited for short form summer rebrand. If you want to join at Busy Blooming HQ, I'm going to be going live in there all the time throughout the summer, obviously posting episodes on our podcast, but every single week I'll be posting content ideas, trend ideas. We'll be talking about Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. You have a whole office of co-workers over there to review your content. I'll give you my thoughts, and we're all here to support you at Busy Living HQ throughout the entire summer and every single week. So I hope you're doing well. Thanks for watching today's episode, and I'll see you in the next episode. Okay, bye.